Well, Mike, welcome to the Prayin and Slayin Podcast, man. Excited to have you on. Known each other for a long time, worked together in various capacities throughout the years in the outdoors industry, and not the first time I've ever seen you kill a buck, but I saw you posting a grip and grin picture. I'm like, all right, man, it's time. We got to get you on the Prayin and Slayin Podcast and on Operation Hunt specifically. So tell us a little bit about your military career to get us started, man, and what branch, what was your job, all the good stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I joined my junior year of high school. I joined the I guess delayed entry program, I guess you could say, where you go, on the weekdays, go see your recruiter, take little tests here and there, and kind of earn a promotion rather than coming in at nothing. I came in as a PV2. This was early 2000s, and then within 3 weeks after graduating in May of 2021, I actually signed up, went to MEPS in the United States Army, the first to fight. And
That's right.
So I served prior to June 2021 all the way through July of 2021. So I did just over 20 years and as a United States Army. I first started out as a military police officer. I got my training right here where I'm stationed, where I live now, Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. Everybody calls it Lost in the Woods, but I tell you what, man, the hunting and fishing out here is phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
From what I can see, is we're staying here. So I served 5 years in military police. Did one deployment to Iraq in 04, 05. Got back and really wanted to kind of change my role from combat MP to more of a law enforcement aspect. And so I did what most law enforcement officers want to do, is get a dog. So I re-enlisted for a few years. And they said, if you re-enlist to go K9 and we send you, you have to come back here. And at that time, I was stationed in Hawaii. So I was like, yeah, where do I sign? So I ended up spending, I went K9, fell in love with it, and ended up spending a little over 7 years in Hawaii. So I am not complaining. I worked patrol narcotics, won a lot of competitions with my dog. He was very good at narcotics. We were a great team. We did on-base operations. I helped Honolulu Police Department do some narcotic searches and stuff like that. And then I PCSed from Hawaii to Fort Belvoir, Virginia, where I kept the role as a military working dog handler. I became the trainer at that time and also worked patrol and explosives. Did a lot of things in D.C. with, presidential stuff. It was pretty neat. Got to meet President Bush, President Obama, and do a lot of United Nations type sweeps for explosives. And then halfway through my career in 2010, I decided to make a bigger switch and become an investigator. So I went to the criminal investigation school and became a CID special agent. And we do all felony level crimes within the DOD. And so my last 10 years, I served as a CID agent. I did a deployment in 11 and 12 to Afghanistan, mainly doing Title 10 investigations. And then when I got back from there in 2012, I went protective services, the DOD's version of the Secret Service. I was the Secretary of the Army's personal security officer for a short period of time. Once he came out of office, I was selected to come down here at Fort Leonard Wood, where I am now, to teach here at the schoolhouse. So my last 5 or 6 years as a CID agent, I spent doing firearms, protective services, evasive maneuvers, and stuff like that with vehicles. So it was pretty cool. Career went pretty quick.
That's quite
20 years goes fast. So especially when you like what you're doing. So.
For sure. Well, it definitely sounds like it, man. And for those of you just listening, you can see the smile on his face the whole time he's talking about it. So definitely proud. That's awesome, man. It's and it goes quick too. And you got that much. I mean, that's a lot packed into 20 years. I mean, it might sound like a while, but that's really a lot of switching around and doing a lot of things. And you're the second K9 Army K9 specialist we had on, Justin Wilson. I don't know if you know him personally or not through some different channels, but he's a former Army 20-year K9 MP as well.
Cool.
But yeah, it sounds like you guys might have even crossed over a little bit in the DC area. But
I'm sure it's a small community,
awesome.
And most of us know each other. So
yeah, I bet. Yeah, you definitely listening to him tell the stories. You can kind of tell it's got a tight knit group, man.
Oh yeah.
So very cool. What was your favorite part about Hawaii?
Oh man, Hawaii is one of those tours where people either hate it or they really love it. If you stick to the barracks or stick at the house, you're not going to like it very much. So going out and exploring. Out there, they play softball all year round. I mean, I was young and 150 pounds, So I played softball year round and just met a lot of cool locals, and I fished as much as I could. Um, so it was a good experience for me. The weather's perfect. I mean, having Christmas on the beach. It's snowing right now here in Missouri, so and I'll be in Texas here in a couple of days, down in your neck of the woods. So I'm excited to get back to warmth. So
Yeah, man. Yeah, the guys down here, it's today everybody was running around in winter coats and stuff. I'm out there still in shorts and well
yeah,
my basically my sun shirt, it's 45 degrees and I love that. I mean it's like I can't wait for it to get cold, but yeah, done with the summer here hopefully. So you'll be running into some awesome temperatures to come down here and hunt it, and that's for sure.
yeah. Well,
No,
in the
very cool, man.
military, they make you play in foul weather and stuff. So now when I have an option, I'm like, yeah, I'll pass. So I became a
You did your
fair weather
time.
outdoorsman, I guess you could say.
Yeah, hey, you know what? There's room for that too. I
Yeah.
mean, that's the biggest change we had was when we went from I guess Virginia wasn't that much different. So we started in Iowa, grew up in Iowa, just like Missouri, get all four seasons there, hot, cold, everything in between. And then went to Virginia. And the, for the most part, a lot more mild in the wintertime. You get a
Yeah.
couple snowfalls a year and it shuts everything down, for a couple
Oh
inches or
yeah.
whatever. But then we went to Montana, and that was the first time I had to like ditch my Iowa hunting gear because the game in Iowa or Missouri or whatever is kind of just how comfortable can you stay for how long?
Yeah.
But then you go to a place where you got to hike around and all of a sudden do some packing, and then it's like you're going out there in base layers, and it might be 5 degrees outside, but you're going to start sweating the second you get
Yeah.
200-300 yards from that truck, and you just got to play that game a little bit. So definitely a different ball
Yeah.
game. Did you do
And
any
even
hunting
just a little
in,
bit of
in
elevation change too can change the temperature quite a bit. So you got to prepare for it all.
100% in the wind? Absolutely, and the wind coming from different directions all the time, and yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Did you happen to get any hunting done in Hawaii?
We did some hog hunting out there. They use knives and run dogs. They
Mhm.
do have a lot of like axis deer on the Big Island, stuff like that. I never really got into that. I did a lot of fishing, and that's when I kind of first started getting into kayak fishing, which, I'm pretty avid in right now. So
Yeah, heck yeah, man, that's awesome. Yeah, it's on our list. We're supposed to be finding out here any day now. So by the time this podcast airs, we'll know where we're going. But Hawaii is one of the options on the list, and so of course I'm Googling all my hunting and fishing options and things like that. Of getting
yeah,
excited. But there's a lot to do down there, man. It sounds like a sportsman's paradise, like you said. If you don't want to, stick to the barracks or stick to around base or whatever, there's a lot to be found if you get out there and explore a little bit. I felt like for the MP side of the bases, um, Montana, we were stationed out there. It's a heavy MP base as well for Air Force.
yeah,
But yeah, the guys, same thing. You either loved it or hated it. But the guys that loved it were the guys that get out and actually go explore because it's just kind of same thing. It's a paradise for anybody that's out there. You can find something for you in Montana,
yeah,
but
for
you
sure.
have to get out and try to do it. If you're sitting inside and play video games or do whatever, on your off time, you're not going to find a lot to do, and it probably will be pretty boring. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
heck yeah,
That's
man.
that's
Well,
the
what was your?
military in general. Is it's all what you make of it, man. It can be boring and go slow, or do a lot of things and stay involved, and it goes fast. So
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure, man. Even my time Air Force, same thing on the line side. You get the guys that wanted to sit in the shop all day and kind of hide away in a hole, and there's no longer week that you're going to have than trying to do that. But if you get out there and go do a couple things or jump in with some certain projects or whatever, or get out on the flight line, do your thing, it's like you snap your fingers and it's done.
yep.
So yeah, I can imagine as much movement as you did. What was your favorite part or favorite tour with the dog specifically?
I mean, DC was pretty cool. I loved working narcotics in Hawaii because it's rampant out there, and we had a lot of drug busts and stuff. But working explosives with Secret Service and being around all those foreign dignitaries is pretty cool too. So I really kind of really like that.
Yeah, for sure, man. Anything stick out as like a favorite moment?
I'm a Bush guy, so President Bush was known as one of the most fit presidents we've ever had, and he'd always come to our installation and ride his bikes. And so we had to do a lot of support for him, and he was always pretty cool, always willing to come up and give you a handshake, a hug, and stuff like that. So one of my screenshots in my mind I have is a picture of me and him, standing there at our golf course, and he was pretty cool. So that's kind of
That's
like
very cool,
that's
man.
up there on my thing, cool things
Yeah,
I
for
did.
sure.
Yeah,
Not a lot of people get to say that. Very cool.
yeah,
Very cool. And so you joined, you said 20 or 2001.
yeah.
I guess what got you geared up to say, hey, I want to join the Army?
So in my family, we have numerous people who served in, different capacities. My uncle was in the Navy. My grandfather, he served in the Army way back when it was Army Air Corps. My other grandfather served in the Army, and he was involved in law enforcement too. Law enforcement was kind of I wouldn't say I disappointed my father, but my father's a fireman. And cops and firemen always have this, this battle and stuff. And my brother's a fireman as well. So I wanted to be cool. So I became law enforcement. But yeah, it was something that I thought I knew I was going to go into law enforcement. Even in high school, I was a law enforcement explorer. So I rode around with the sheriff department, police department, and stuff. And at that time, you had to be 21 years old to actually be a police officer. So I figured I'd join the military for 5 years and, get some training and stuff. And then when I got there, it seemed easy to me. I excelled, and next thing you know, 20 years is gone. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, you cross that 5 year hump, man. There's kind of like the 5 year hump, and then there's the 10, and then after 10, it's like you
you
better. I
might
mean,
as
if you're
well.
gonna stake it, yeah. I don't understand guys that get out after 10. I mean, I get it if you're done with it, but
Yeah.
it just seems kind of like an odd time to get out. You almost made it through the hard part,
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
but
And I've had people jump out at 16 years. I'm like, man, 4 more years, dude, and you're losing tons of benefits. I
yeah,
have four
just yeah,
kids now, aged 8 to 18. And, me being 100% through the VA and stuff, they get free college. And that pays for itself.
oh
Uh,
man,
we've had no issues with the VA. My wife's a disabled veteran as well. So we've had no issues with the VA. The VA's taking care of us. Retirement's good. So, yeah, we're happy where we're at, and 20 years is worth it. So
yeah,
something
for
to think
sure.
about. So.
Well, tell me about that. I didn't realize your wife was prior service as well. Did she do a full 20? And how did you guys end up meeting?
No, she only did a couple years. She served in the chemical corps. She was medically discharged.
Okay.
Her biggest thing was she always wanted to serve, but due to her medical condition, she couldn't come back in. And so she was actually a gate guard at Fort Belvoir, Virginia. And so I used to go do gate checks and do gate sweeps, explosive sweeps, and stuff like that. And that's kind of how we met. And anytime the gate needed help, I was the first one to respond, obviously, because she was down there. Um, and then after
Percent.
shift, we'd go down to the Potomac River and we'd catfish together and hang out all night. And it just, here we are. I think it's been almost 20 years now. We've been hanging out. So
So awesome, man. Did the dog lead you to her the first time? One of those like romantic movies. I'm picturing it. It's probably a little bit of snowfall.
yeah,
Dog runs over there. He's trying to find something. He sits down right beside her, and you look up, and bam, that was the moment, huh?
yeah. You'd have to see my wife to know her. She's a little bit, she's total opposites. They always say opposites attract. I'm the very outdoorsy type. She does like to fish and stuff, but she's very, to all my friends, they're like, man, that girl's so mean. She's aggressive and she's covered in tats. So she's just the aura she puts off, but she's actually a cool chick. And she loved my dog. And I always call her the Hamburglar. Just what happened to be one night I was grilling hamburgers and said, hey, you want some food? And I made her a hamburger. And then it seemed like every night she's like, hey, will you grill me a hamburger? Will you make me a hamburger? So
Heck
I
yeah.
always brought her food and stuff. And that's, my wife loves to eat. So
You bet. Absolutely.
that's
That's
kind
the
of our
best way to
thing.
anybody's heart, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's awesome, man. I love it. Catfish in the Potomac. That's one thing I never got to do. We just came from Maryland, so
Yeah.
my wife, she's in the nurse practitioner program through the Air Force there. So she was at Walter Reed for
Yeah.
2 years prior to coming down here. Now she's in her clinical rotation. Just got stationed at Fort Hood for that. Um, but yeah, I always wanted to do fishing in the Potomac. Never got a chance to do it. There was a spot um, back behind our place. We kind of lived in a really cool spot, man. If you didn't know you're in the middle of DC, like you'd have no idea because you
Yeah.
could walk out the back door and hike for probably about a good 4, 5, 6 miles, a couple lakes and some ponds back on those trails, and did a lot of
Yeah.
pond and lake fishing, but never got a chance to hit the rivers. But I always saw guys doing it. That's an active area down there, man. That Potomac
Oh
area,
yeah.
people running, people fishing, all kinds of stuff, kayak fishing.
We used to go up into Rock Bridge and we'd catch huge shad and throw them out there on live lines and we'd catch 30-pound stripers that run up Rock Bridge and stuff. And then we'd go out in the Potomac River and we'd catch 30, 40-pound blues, and bass fishing was phenomenal. Here in Missouri, our lakes, we don't have vegetation.
Mhm.
It's hard to find vegetation here, but you get up into some of on the Potomac River, you get into a 3 mile long cove and it's all lily pads, man. And topwater fishing out there is phenomenal. The bass fishing's great. They also have snakehead, which is an invasive species that just blow up topwater frogs, and
Yeah.
it's just fun.
Yeah, it's a cool spot, man. That's another spot too. It's a, yeah, I'd say Maryland's absolutely a sportsman's paradise as well. If you
Yeah.
want to get out there, there's more adventure to be had in that tiny little state than you would think, for a guy that, and then the deer hunting out there. Did you ever do any deer hunting while you're there?
I did some in Missouri, or not Missouri, but Virginia. I hunted on
Mhm.
Quantico quite a bit just because it was close, and they got some big deer on Quantico. Uh,
Yeah.
Yep. So it was pretty cool. We did a lot of offshore fishing and kayaks. We'd go out and chase reds and bluefish, croaker. We'd throw crab pots every once in a while, eat some blue crabs, and live
Hmm.
line for stripers at the Chesapeake Bay Bridge. And it was just it's beautiful. If there wasn't traffic like there is out there, I'd stay in DC area. But
Yeah.
it takes you an hour just to go 20 miles sometimes. So it's
Dude, it's mind blowing. Yeah, that's what gets you. Like I said, you leave our little street that we lived off of. We lived in Rockville, so about 12
yeah,
miles as a crow flies from the capital. And but man, you hit that main road, and it's just like you're stressed from the time you leave home till the
yeah,
time you get home. It's just like you can't fight it. And that's, yeah, traffic is just mind blowingly different out there. You know what was crazy is we went to, so Virginia was our first duty station together. That's where I got out. And Virginia, I remember, I don't know if it was just the time, it was kind of the first time away from home type deal too. So I don't know if it was just like, holy cow, I just remember traffic always sucked in Virginia.
yeah. And
Out of
odd
the,
hours of the day too. It's crazy.
it just, dude, that was the cool places where you learned after you lived there for a little bit, like 5 minutes in either direction of one of those windows of traffic
Yeah,
would make or break your drive. I mean, it was
yeah,
just, and if you got 4 minutes too close, it was okay.
yeah,
You're hitting traffic, and so that was always nuts. But then I just remember it being terrible on the we are on the Newport News, so like the Middle Peninsula there. And then we went to Maryland for this last one, and Maryland was a nightmare. Well, my wife, on one of her TDYs for this program, she got stationed at Virginia again for 2 weeks, and so we just drove down to visit her a couple of times. And we buzzed around like the old hideouts and stuff that we used to hang out down. And, dude, I don't know what the deal was, but traffic felt like a breeze compared to DC. So either
yeah,
DC is that bad, or Maryland got way better. Or Virginia got way better. I'm not sure, but yeah, it was nuts.
yeah,
It had the difference. It felt good to buzz around there, and all of a sudden it was less stressful. But I'm guessing
yeah.
DC is just that much more stressful.
Just millions and millions of people going both directions at the same time. It's absolute nuts.
Yeah, it's mind blowing, man. It's an experience if you haven't done it, and never and you'll learn one time. You get one trip that you decide you want to drive somewhere in DC versus taking the metro. After the
Yeah.
first drive, you're like, never again, not doing
Yep.
that. So the metro is the way to go for sure if you ever want to visit that area if you haven't.
Yeah. See, I
Well,
remember
very
I always kept a sleeping bag and a pillow in my truck, and there's times where if I knew I had to be in at like prime times, I'd leave 3 or 4 hours early and just sleep in the parking lot of work,
there
in
you
order
go.
to get there on time. It's ridiculous.
That's the way to go, man. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
pro tip. Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. It's its own world, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah,
For sure.
good fishing, good hunting, good scenery
Yeah.
too. You get out of that city, man. It's kind of cool. It turns into like a Missouri or Iowa almost. Like you hit that farm country and it's just rolling hills and corn and
Shenandoah
soybeans and
Valley
everything
area is
else.
beautiful. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, very cool, man. Well, then you got out of the military at 20 years, and so then you did some teaching on the back end of your military career. What'd you jump into when you got out?
So COVID kind of killed the last couple of years of my career, so everything was, I could do everything from home, didn't have to report to work a lot. Uh, and a funny story, if my sergeant major's listening, he's retired now, but I remember there was probably a good 45-day period where I never had to work. Um,
Oh
we
wow.
couldn't hold classes, and our classes were usually 30 to 40 people long. And during COVID, you couldn't have that close connection. So there was a good 45-day period, just happened to fall like in the April timeframe. And so I do a live video on my Facebook, and my sergeant major follows me of me in a not quite as hairy as this, but I still had some hair growing. And I had a turkey. I was dragging a turkey out over my shoulder, and then I get a call from my first sergeant saying, "Hey, sergeant major's recalling the battalion to make sure all the soldiers are shaven." I was like, "Oh man!" So I went home, threw on my uniform, did a quick shave, showed up to work, and he's like, "Oh, you shaved?" And I was like, "Yeah, I shave. I shave all the time." And he's like, well, I saw your video, and the whole brigade's over here looking at me. All these guys are like, why did I get recalled to see if I'm shaving? So I always get crap for that. But yeah, it was just funny. But yeah, kind of COVID hurt the last couple of years of my career, so it wasn't as active, but I got a lot of time to spend outdoors. So in 2016, I had a student come through the protective services training course who was a team member for the Fallen Outdoors, and he was always asking, hey, to borrow my climbing stand and do stuff like that. And then he kind of was telling me about the Fallen Outdoors, and I said, yeah, man, I'd really love to get involved, especially here in Missouri. So for if you don't know, the Fallen Outdoors, we're a nationwide non-for-profit. We provide 100% free therapeutic outdoor ventures to the veteran community. We have teams literally in almost every state. And like I said, all these trips are 100% free. So this was something, hunting and fishing's always been my passion. Growing up, my parents separated when I was young. My mom spent most of the time in Arkansas. I lived in Kansas. So I'd go see her in the summertime. And, a single mother, she obviously had to work 12 hours a day. And I had a fishing pole and a BB gun. And I'd run the hollers of Arkansas, and I'd have squirrel, and I'd have crappie or some kind of panfish, bass. Uh, and I really just lived outdoors. And that kind of instilled in me what I do now is, I love living off the land. I love what the land provides. And I'm just an avid outdoorsman. I have an older brother who's 4 years older than me, and he doesn't hunt or fish. He fishes a little bit with his kids. He's got two daughters. They're grown up now, but uh, it didn't hit him like it hit me. And I just knew that the outdoors that was my calling. That was my passion. And so getting involved with the Fallen Outdoors was perfect for me. I could give back to my brothers and sisters in the veteran community, and kind of share my passion for them and help create a passion for them. And that's really why the Fallen Outdoors has been great for me is, I take somebody hunting or fishing. They have a great time, even if you don't harvest anything. The chats you can have in a ground blind or, sitting on a riverbank is instrumental for the mental health of our service members. And the next thing I know, as I see him posting, hey, I'm going fishing day, I'd like to take somebody with me. And it just creates that wildfire of, hey, I'm taking somebody, now I'm taking somebody. And that's how you really make that connection in the outdoors with our community. And so from the time I became a team member, I was voted to be a team leader. So I ran Team Missouri for a short period. The organization grew exponentially. I became a regional director over the Midwest. So I was in charge of 12 states. And then about a year after that, I was selected to be the national staff director. So I was in charge of 700 goons. And then I think 4 or 5 years ago, I became the national vice president. And so really as a national vice president, I'm kind of our sponsorships guy, kind of in the second in charge, I guess you could say that, run board meetings, oversee sponsorships. I go out and check on teams, make sure things are going well. When they have banquets and events like that are big and draw attention, we like to show up to those and make sure everything's done prim and proper, and just kind of a meet and greet kind of guy. So it's been great. So
That's awesome, man. And that full-time gig then for you?
it's a full-time volunteer gig. The
Okay.
unique thing about the organization is we're like the largest 100% all volunteer organization. None of us get paid from the top down. It's all volunteer hours. So it's something like you do what you do when you can. And so all of our teams post trips almost daily. They got something going on where they're getting somebody out hunting or fishing, camping, family events, and things of that nature all across the nation. So it's pretty impactful for sure.
Yeah, that's incredible, man. So you literally jumped right out from serving to serving those who serve. I mean, just pretty seamless. That's incredible. Do
Yeah.
you do these guys? So you mentioned they kind of do some fundraising events and things like that, but like, how does a guy or gal get involved? Like, do they just visit your website and there's like a list of events or trips or people that go, or is it more like community based, like word of mouth? How do people find each other?
So we mainly operate off Facebook. We have 5 national pages that are broken down into regions. We have a East Coast, so it's the Fallen Outdoors East Coast All Veterans Community page. We have a Midwest All Veterans Community page, a Southern, and the East Coast. And then we have an all page where everybody's allowed to join from all across the regions. And we broke it down into regions really so we can cater to those trips near you more. So if you live in the Midwest, yours would be the southern region. So if you join the southern region, you'd see, Texas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, trips posted in those nature. And so that whole region posts on one page. It'll say Team Texas trip announcement. Let's say, 5 veterans deer hunting Abilene, Texas. And it's all random draws. So they're saying they can take 5 people out deer hunting. Comment with big buck down. We'll draw names in 10 days, and we just kind of randomly select the names, and those people get to go on that trip, and it's free and clear. So it's pretty cool.
That's really incredible, man. So yeah, it's just really, I like how it's run too. If you're going to run it all volunteer, I mean, you got to kind of be grassroots with it, I guess, is where my head goes on how you even manage something like that. So kind of keeping it a little, looser than maybe some other organizations about just, hey, it's all word of mouth. It's grassroots level. Go out there, just engage with a comment and join a veteran community page. And you have an opportunity wherever you're at to find some kind of local adventure to get out on. That's really cool. I like that. And I imagine you guys have a ton of word of mouth stuff too, that just kind of, is that, like, talk about your exponential growth a little bit too. Like, did you guys do something to like start marketing what you were doing more, when you joined on the Missouri side, or was it more just like, hey, this is a really cool organization, and it kind of caught that grassroots wildfire on its own?
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of grassroots on its own. So we were actually founded in 2009. Our founder, Eric Bakken, and 2 of his battle buddies were in Afghanistan, and they wanted to do something to help, each other in the outdoors, mental health wise. And unfortunately, some of those folks didn't come back. And so when Eric got back, he's like, I'm making this dream come true. And so, it started out with just a small group of guys that love to hunt and fish, mainly duck hunting out in Washington State. And, as people PCS, you had one of that small niche group go to Missouri, and he's like, hey, dude, I want to do the same thing here. Let me start a Missouri team. So team started, and it kind of, expanded across the nation. And they were like, well, it makes no sense for me to be living in Virginia and all I'm seeing is Washington State trips. So let's break it down into regions. So we broke it down into regions. And then, hunting season's obviously 90% of the year. And that last 10% of the year we call show season, which really kicks off here in February, March. And so we go to a lot of outdoor shows all across the nation. We go to the NWTF. We partnership with Major League Fishing and NWTF. So we go all the Major League Fishing events to get some kind of spotlight and stuff. We have Red Crest coming to Missouri this year, which is one of the biggest fishing shows for Major League Fishing. Rocky Mountain Elk partners with us in some states where we go to a lot of their conventions, their shows, Whitetails Unlimited. And we kind of use, the other resources available to us to kind of get our name out there and say, hey, if you have veterans within your community, let them know about us. And it just spreads like that. This year was an amazing year for us. Over the last 4 years, we partnered with Grizzly Tobacco. 2 years ago, we came out with our own Grizzly tobacco can with our logo incorporated in it. It's pretty neat.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
I didn't know. That's awesome.
And it's got, so we were part of the Grizzly Outdoor Corps. They donate a lot to us. And so this year, they got into NASCAR. And so we had our logos featured on a couple NASCAR cars this year. And for the Memorial Day race, I get chills, but we had a beautiful car for the Memorial Day race out in Charlotte this year. It was white and gold, and it said, remember the 7046 on it, had our logos everywhere, and it actually had every single soldier or service member who died in Afghanistan or Iraq's name was on that car physically.
This episode is powered by Deadnuts Outdoors, makers of the most lifelike, lightweight, and weatherproof 2D archery targets in the world. That's right, I said 2D. We're talking full-size animals that bring the hunt to your backyard. Whether you're dialing in before the season or just burning daylight with your bow, Deadnuts Targets makes practicing fun, training on full-size animals to ensure every rep in the backyard converts to success on your trips to the field. Built to last, easy to haul, compatible with any backstop, and 100% made in the USA, Deadnuts Outdoors is a proud supporter of our veterans, investing in conservation and rooted in building a better, more confident community of hunters every step of the way. They are proud supporters of the Prayin and Slayin Podcast Network, and you can get 10% off your Deadnuts targets by using the code Prayin and Slayin at checkout. That's Prayin and Slayin. at your checkout or visiting the link in the show notes. Deadnuts is helping us all hit the spot, not the dot. Hit it dead nuts. Now, let's get back to the episode.
And so there was guys sitting around the car just in tears, looking through all the names, finding their buddies and stuff like that. And it's that kind of impact, that NASCAR and Grizzly has helped us really kind of push that name for us. So,
wow, man.
We do have a website as well, thefallenoutdoors.org. On that website, we do have a list of sponsors that have helped us out throughout the years, current sponsors that offer discounts to members or those who are seeing that page. We also have some donation links on there too. We have a campaign we call the 22 for 22. The number 22 is obviously significant to our veteran community because it's the minimum number of service members who commit suicide on a daily basis. The number ranges from 22 all the way up into the 40s, some days. Especially right now during the holiday season, it's one of the toughest time for service members and veterans. So the 22 for 22 campaign, it's an annual subscription. You can let it run for as long as you want. It's just $22 a month donation. We put all that money in one big pot, and every year we split it amongst our teams to help get a fresh start on the year, to help go out and do fundraising, help go out and do community events, help set up booths to get the word out there. So it's pretty neat. All that's available there on our webpage. You can see all the different things we do. There's a gallery of pictures from all across the nation. You can get in touch with your regional directors. You can get in touch with the team near you. So it's pretty neat.
Yeah, man, that's incredible. You guys you're deep for being an all volunteer organization. Maybe that's what keeps it that way, right? Because I sometimes I feel like I've had a chance to work for over a decade now, but just in the conservation space, in the outdoors world. And this isn't knocking organizations when I say it, but it seems like a lot of times the more money that gets involved, like especially when you work inside of it and you get to see it from a little bit different angle, like it just seems like sometimes it pulls off mission a little too much, or it skews how maybe some things could have got done, or takes away from that grassroots level stuff, especially, because now it's all got to be on the structure. So it doesn't surprise me how wide your guys' mission reaches, because it's like it allows you guys to stay on mission and keep people in it for the right reason. There's a little bit of no strings attached too, right? Like if it's a great fit, great. If it's not for a guy that's volunteering or whatever, then it just is what it is. But the guys that want to be there are the ones that stay there, which is also really cool.
We get some big partnerships, sponsorships that reach out to us like, we would love to help you. We just need to do some research. That's the first thing I tell them is do your research, and if we're not the right fit for you, then by all means. And we told that to Grizzly Tobacco, I said, hey, do your research on us. The proof's in the pudding, all of our information's out there. And within like 2 days, we're like, oh yeah, you guys are it. Nobody takes a salary. All the money goes back into the veteran community. I mean, why wouldn't we want to get involved? And we've been running with Grizzly, for the last, I think, almost 4 or 5 years now, and they've been awesome partnerships. They donate a lot to us and come out and film a lot of our big events. So if you go to like mygrizzly.com, you'll see the Fallen Outdoors actually has a drop down tab on their website, and you can see some of the phenomenal video they've created from us. They go out and interview our team members, interview our veterans, and just encapsulize what we do in a beautiful way. I mean, these guys are magicians with cameras and audio, and it helps us. It's a great partnership, and we love those guys, and it's pretty neat.
Yeah, man, that's really cool. I mean, that's a huge name to be sponsored with and partnered with. This does a lot too. That companies that size jumping on what you guys are doing speaks volumes as to what it is. As far as fundraising events, so you guys do like your typical banquets, like a Whitetails Unlimited, someone might be familiar with, or what kind of fundraisers do you guys put on?
Yeah, and like I said, we have teams all across the nation. Some of our teams are more established, some are not. So the teams that do have the funds to stand up and do an actual banquet, we have one here in Missouri, Virginia does one, North Carolina does one, South Carolina does one, Alaska does one, Texas does one, Washington, Oregon do one. So the teams that are able to have, enough volunteers to do a banquet, we do them. They kind of run just like the NWTF, Whitetails Unlimited banquets. A lot of guns, a lot of gear, and they're pretty neat. So
awesome. You guys run a lot
of one of the biggest ways we fundraise throughout the years. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. And you guys have a lot of partners. Do you guys do specific like partnerships just for the those organization side, or is that like a lot more local, national? Like what kind of partners you guys get in those?
Yeah, so we let all of our teams raise funds independently. So if Team Missouri does a banquet or Team Oregon, everything they raise throughout the year stays within that team. The national team, like myself, we don't take any money from our teams. And so for them to do a banquet, they have each team kind of has their individual sponsorships that help out support that. And all the funds help go back to helping veterans right there in their own community. So it creates a lot of opportunities for those local sponsors to step up and want to get involved. So.
Yeah, very cool, man. And if there's companies listening, and I know there are lots of companies that listen to this, or how do they get in touch with you? It sounds like you're the main sponsorship contact. Like, how would they get in touch with you to have that conversation if they want to jump in on that?
Yeah, so our email addresses are plain and simple. I'm sure Aaron will show my name here in a little bit, or if it's not posted below. It's just mike.unruh at thefallenoutdoors.org. So you can reach out to me and I'll put you in touch with your local team. We obviously want those donations and the funds going to the specific teams that you would like them to. And then if you want to get in touch directly with the teams, it's just the state abbreviation .lead. So like Missouri is mo.lead at thefallenoutdoors.org. And you can do that for any of the states. Reach out to whatever state you need to. And that's the email address. So you can also go to thefallenoutdoors.org and click the contact us button. And that goes to one of our staff that kind of run our webpage and stuff like that. And he disseminates it out to wherever it needs to go, where you can click on a specific state and get in touch with your local state too there. So try to make it easy.
Awesome, man. Yeah, you guys
we
definitely
have
do.
Marines. You got to make it easy for the Marines,
100%. Not all are tech savvy like the Air Force guys. And
yeah.
Very cool, man. Well, a hell of an organization. I knew a little bit about it, and to be honest, I'm saying a little bit now because I thought I knew more about it. But you guys are way bigger and have a way bigger reach, and just I love how you run the organization. So I learned a lot on this one. That's very cool organization, and I know we'll be partnering probably with Light the Fire Outdoors too here. I want to get some kind of partnership set up with that because that's part of our mission as well as. We do a 10% of anything that we make goes right back to our veterans and conservation support projects, and you guys would be a big part of that. You guys just help make that dollar go to the right place. Really cool. So how did you guys get the, so you're involved in Fallen Outdoors very, very heavily on a volunteer basis, but you also run your own outdoors business, Ridge to River Outdoors. How did that come about?
Again, COVID time, I thought about the Fallen Outdoors and how I can create, products or get a hold of products, to available to our veteran community at a discount, and some of our partnerships, like, I'll give you the standard military discount. And I was like, well, what if I can set up something that will allow our team members to get stuff, at cost or below cost to help put on trips. So in 2020, I launched Ridge to River Outdoors. I sell tons of outdoor related products, and I always give kickbacks and not necessarily kickbacks, but I give, good discounts to the Fallen Outdoors and stuff to supply their teams with great gear. Trail cameras is huge. I do thermal imaging, thermal scopes, night vision, things like that. Coffee's a big seller. I got a bunch of coffee over there. Pretty much anything hunting and fishing related, man. I sell, and I'm about 90% online right now. I'm working towards a full brick and mortar. So once I get that established, then in my small community here near Fort Leonard, we have Walmart and we have an academy like 30 miles away. So at the time I was like, man, we need to have an outdoor store here locally to support our local needs. It's a huge hunting and fishing community. So I kind of kicked that off, and it kind of bleeds over into the Fallen Outdoors, where I help my teams, get things at great value and help get the veterans out. We also have a big event running right now, 1 through 25 December. We call it 25 Days of Christmas, where the staff hosts. We'll post numerous videos on the All Veterans community page, and we do giveaways every day. Normally it's $200,000 to $300,000 worth of gear that's been donated to us. Community members reach out to us, say, hey, I have this knife set I want to donate. So our staff will make a video and post it and give a shout out to who donated it. And the members of our page, which is, close to 300,000 members, can just comment on there, and we just randomly give out stuff from 1 through 25 December. It's pretty neat. So
very cool.
Yeah. But with my outdoor store, that's kind of what keeps me busy. As I evolve in the outdoors and visit different states, I see different products that I think I would like, and so I sign up to be a dealer for those, and I'm able to share that product within the veteran community. So, um, and it's been real well. It's I've been doing it since 2020, and it's going good, and hopefully here soon that'll be my primary job is running a full blown outdoor store. I'd like to get an FFL and just be a small Cabela's, I guess you could say, out here, or a small Bass Pro. Johnny Morris owns most of Missouri, anyways, down in the Springfield area. But I'd still love to have my outdoor business out here, and that's kind of what I focus on when I'm not doing TFO related stuff. So it's pretty neat.
Heck yeah, man. That's incredible. Living the dream. What's the vision? Are you guys gonna have like a standalone store? Are you gonna be like renting some space out of a warehouse? Like what's your vision for that?
So I've been here in the house for 4 years now. It's gone real well. Um, I'm looking at procuring some property, 5 to 10 acres, maybe even more than that. Like I said, I'd like to have my nice big barn dominium style outdoor store with some acreage where I could do a 3D archery range, uh, and just things like that. I just want a good spot for us to all to be able to come together and enjoy the great outdoors and in one place. So it'd be pretty neat.
Yeah, man. I
Who
love that.
knows,
That's
down the
cool.
line, I may have a lodge and cabins, and so we'll see. I
Well,
have big dreams, but it
yeah,
all takes money for sure.
that that's it. Money and time. Yep. You have
Absolutely.
one or the
Absolutely.
other. You just got to work on the other one. That's cool, man.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I love it. I love the yeah, getting a range in there. People can come hang out, buy some products, see some cool stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool.
I sell a lot
I'll
of
be your
coffee, so I want to create this nice little environment where people can just come, like back in the old days, the old timers used to sit at the gas station and drink coffee and stuff. That's what I want. I want that environment back. I would love to see, during deer season, everything's online now. You can telecheck your deer via app. I want to have a place where the community can come together, throw their deer on the ground, but like, look at that big buck, and especially for the kids, they need to show off what they harvested and really go back to the way it used to be, showing off your deer and, sipping coffee, looking at, a nice 8 point buck or more and just really taking nature for what it is. It needs to be back like it used to be.
You're 100% right on that, man. I
Yeah.
think, yeah, I think we have a big, big need in our hearts, and then it goes back to the fallen outdoors. Just whether you're veteran, non-veteran, whatever, man. The one thing we're really lacking, I think, right now is community. We all think we have
Yeah.
community with what social media has created in our lives, but man, it's and go to DC and ride the metro once, and that'll show you about how disconnected everybody can possibly be.
Yeah.
You hear about some crazy stuff that's happened in the news recently, but you just visit a place like that and you're like, I could see how something like that could happen because no one pays attention, man. Like,
Yeah.
I kind of make it a point on my own just to be aware, I guess, but also like when you're the one dude sitting on the entire metro train and you're sitting there watching and no one else is, you're like, this is crazy. But everybody probably feels a little bit connected because they're staring at that phone screen and
Yeah.
but exactly you gave me all the feels right there. The good old days, guys sitting around drinking coffee, checking deer, buddies
Yeah.
going out. The In my hometown we had a restaurant my parents used to do some catering for, the Master Griller, and guys would go up there every Iowa shotgun opener is usually where you'd see the most of it, but there'd always be the place would be packed with hunters going in there,
Yeah.
and you're getting rid of all the hunting rules about scents because everybody's walking out of there smelling like biscuits and gravy and coffee and whatever,
Yeah.
man. But everybody got in there, and about daylight they'd start trickling out the door, and the second wave come. But that was like one of the coolest things is just
Yeah.
it was more about the community that you're being a part of, and then everybody just got out there and did their thing, and it adds to that experience like you wouldn't believe, and just being a part of a community and having people get together just for a common like or dislike or
Yeah.
anything is just it's a powerful thing, man. So I love that vision. That's awesome.
Yeah. I'm hoping.
Yeah, man. We'll do what we can do on our end to help it make it come true. However we can do that, man.
For
That's
sure.
cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it.
I'm excited to get
Um,
your new products in our shop too. So we
Yeah,
could,
yeah. We're pumped for you, man. That was I had to reach out after that. I was like,
yeah.
I've been kicking it around. A lot of it's homemade right now, but that knee bag, it's been taken off, getting some sales and stuff. I'm like, okay, so people are interested in it. I knew I'd be interested. That's why I made it. And
Yeah.
then and then it was just like, wonder if Mike, he's got he's a veteran, he's got his own shop, and just see what you thought, man. So we're excited to get that out there, and I love that it's a
Absolutely.
veteran partnership to kick that off too, and see how that goes. But I think you're gonna like them.
That's cool. I'm excited to see him.
Yeah, man, for sure. Well, very cool, dude. Well, the nuts and bolts of praying and slaying is getting people together, being a part of a hunting community or a veteran community, and then all centered around the outdoors. And you killed a heck of a nice buck this year, and I'm dying to hear the story.
So, I mean, I went two back to back. In Missouri, you're only allowed two bucks with all seasons combined, and we've had a crazy CWD season, I guess you could say, where, it seems like you can rifle hunt most of the year now, which is nuts. But um, I'll take you back to my archery buck. This year we got a big lease down in South Central Missouri for our veterans organization, and we've been getting tons of vets out hunting out there. It's a huge lease. It's way more than what I wanted. We got an 830-acre lease, and it seems like I've been hunting out there for 6 months now, and I still haven't touched all the property. It's a crazy. But and thanks to Reveal trail cameras, we got 20 something cameras out there, and I had one of my target bucks on camera for 2 days straight. And it seems like here in Missouri, they do things in three. So my archery buck, I went out on the third day. I noticed that he was in a certain area every time around 3:30, 4 o'clock p.m. So I got set up in my saddle around 2 o'clock over this pinch point where I assumed he was coming from. I didn't have any trail cameras of him coming or going from this certain area. And sure as it is, 3:15, I hear some rustling in the woods and look to my right down this little fence line, and he jumps the fence 25 yards from me. He works into 15 yards and shot him right there. And he ran his little 20 yards and fell over. It was a perfect double lung shot. And I say he's a smaller buck than what I thought, but I only saw one side of him the whole time, and he had 6 points. And so I knew it was a solid buck. I just thought he was a 6x6, nice 12 pointer. And then when I get up there, he's a 6x5 and just a beautiful buck. His color was perfect. You can tell he'd been fighting a little bit. He's got cedars all in his brows, and it's kind of weird. If you look at all of my bucks back here on the wall, they're all odd pointed. There's 9 pointers, there's 11 pointers, there's a 13 back there, and I'm just like, I want something symmetrical. I want a straight 5x5 or a 6x6, and I thought this was going to be the one. And then I walk up on him and a little disappointed, but it was just a beautiful buck, and so I was elated that he was what it was, and it just worked out like it did. And in seasons past, I hadn't shot bucks because you can't really time them like that. Like this one was it worked out perfect. And again, it's a lot of it had to do with the Reveal trail cameras and this beautiful property we were on. That was the week before rifle season. Our rifle season here is 10 to 15 days long. Depends if you add on the COVID season, but opening weekend of rifle season, we did deer camp out at the property. We had 8 vets out. And over that course of the weekend, we went 8 for 8 with bucks. It was a phenomenal weekend. We had 2 kids shoot their first bucks. We had 6 vets out there that shot their first bucks, and then we had a friend of one of the child who came out there, and he shot a decent buck as well. But I spent every day, shuttling these guys back and forth to and from stands on my 4-wheeler. And the hunt's really about them when I'm out there. And my wife doesn't know how I do it, but people call me all the time saying, hey, I'm new to hunting. Where should I go? And I'll put them in a spot where I would hunt. And 9 times out of 10, my wife's like, you're dumb. You're dumb. They're going to call you in a little bit with a huge buck. And it does, man. Every time. They're like, I just shot the biggest buck of my life, a big 12 pointer. I'm like, yeah, that's definitely the one I was after.
That's awesome.
Like, how do you do that? And to me, I get more joy from watching somebody shoot something like that and go absolutely crazy. That's what drives me. So I'm like, you know what? It's just a deer. It's not my deer. We're all public landowners, but so this time, I shuttled these guys out Saturday and Sunday. They all got their bucks, super stoked. And I was due to come home Sunday night. And we had a huge weather swing for Monday. It was going to be like in the low 20s or mid 20s, maybe low 30s for the first time in a long time out here. So I had to do the unthinkable and call my wife and be like, I think I'm gonna stay in the camper one more night, and would you mind putting the kids on the bus tomorrow morning? And she gave me a little bit of grief because I always do last minute changes like that to her. But so that's what happened, man. I went out that morning, was in a dilemma on where to sit. I had a nice ground blind, a big baronet high five, which is like a 360 ground blind. They're beautiful blinds. And I love those too. Shout out to Barnett or Baronet. We can fit 2 wheelchairs side by side in there and a spotter. You know, it works great for disabled veterans.
Wow.
But I was like, man, it's going to be cold. Do I want to be in my ground blind or do I want to be in a ladder stand? And I just happened to choose a ladder stand. I went to my ladder stand. I hung up looking over this ridge, and I'd been seeing some deer, you know, first light, 10 to 2-ish evening sets, just a lot of doe. And Sunday, I didn't hardly see anything. I think all of us combined, we saw like 3 or 4 deer maybe, which is unusual.
Wow.
But that weather swing, I knew they were going to be moving. So I decided to choose the hang-on stand. I went to my hang-on stand, and I mean, at first light, I probably had 15 doe milling around, and it's rut. I mean, they're chasing hardcore right now, so I knew something magical could possibly happen. And I had fawns walking directly under me. You know, I could have jumped out of my stand and put them in a chokehold, if that's a thing. I had a bunch of doe walking directly under me, big mature doe. And then at like 8 o'clock, I think like all the deer just disappeared. And so I'm like, man, that's weird. I didn't see any bucks chasing. And then, you know, 100 yards to my right, it seems like the thickets just erupted. And I happen to look over and I see 6 or 7 doe just jump out of the woods, and they're all just kind of milling around this little flat. And I was like, something obviously got them pushed out that quick. And I heard that coming up the ridge behind me, just grunting like crazy. And I was like, oh, this is going to be cool. You know, let's hope it's a good sized buck. And I can hear antlers hitting trees. I can see trees shaking. I just couldn't picture anything. Couldn't see nothing. It's like 8 o'clock in the morning. And then sure as it be, this nice buck jumped out of the woods, and he's kind of sitting there digging, doing a nice big scrape, racking his rack on the trees. And at this point, I didn't have any shots. I could see him clear through my scope. He was less than 100 yards away, but just covered in white or black locust. And if you know what black locust is, that stuff tries to kill you every time you walk near it.
Yeah.
So I had no shots. And these doe kind of scurried a little bit around this little ridge. This point came right to me, and he just followed suit. So once I had a clear line of shot, the 6.5 bleed more, as my buddy calls it, we let it bark. My buddy James custom built this gun for me, and it's a phenomenal rifle. So I shot. He dropped right there in his tracks, and the doe didn't even flinch. So now I have my buck down, and I have like 8 doe just standing around like, what just happened? So everything I run is suppressed anyway, so they didn't know what had happened. And I found the biggest mama of the group and dropped her right next to the buck, and that's kind of it. I knew it was a decent buck. It looked like it had decent mass. It looked like a 6x6. So I came down from my stand after like 20 minutes or so, once the deer had kind of scurried off. And, you know, walking up on a nice buck like that, just, it gives you chills every time, to me at least. And that's when you know that you're doing the right thing. You know, when that all goes away, you just hang up the guns. You're done hunting, you know. But I walked up on him and saw his mass and saw the size of him, and I was stoked, man. It was a great buck. Shakedly, I started texting everybody, big buck down, big doe down, and they're like, "Oh, pictures," or "It didn't happen." So I send some pictures, and great buck. It's an 11 pointer. So I know there's going to be a 12 pointer or more out there for me. This symmetrical, but is a beautiful buck. Probably my biggest buck to date, except for Big Brutus over here. And this was an old buck. I shot him on Fort Leonard Wood.
Very cool.
He's all broken. His ears were split, and he should have been a 6x7 or a 7x7, but he's all broken up. Missouri's got some good bucks out here for sure.
Yeah, man.
So, yeah, the farm worked out for me. Everybody else got their deer, and kind of that Monday morning of opening weekend, I kind of spent to myself and did my thing and got my nice buck and doe combo. And this farm's just loaded with doe, and so we got plenty more deer we need to take, and I got extra tags and everything. And I think I bought 4 additional doe tags for a rifle and 4 for archery. So we got plenty of doe to take, and donating a lot of that meat back to the veteran community. I got a lot of friends that wanted deer, so I've been making tons of deer jerky, giving that away to people, and people have been swinging by, grabbing deer steaks and ground and doing with it, and it's just all for a good cause for sure. So.
Yeah, man, that's incredible. And this is on the your nonprofit lease, you said?
Yeah. Yep.
Very cool. That's incredible. So you didn't get the symmetrical thing done. Maybe Texas will help you out down there. I don't know.
Yeah, like this little guy over here in the middle, right there.
Yep.
He's close to as symmetrical as it is, and that's my Texas buck from last year. So this year I'm gonna be head hunting. I'm gonna look for something. So
100%. Well, they're out there to be had, man. I got a chance. One of my buddies, Ken, manages a ranch about 3.5 hours up here. I can't remember what town is that outside of. Anyway, called the Mountain Ranch. But anyway, just getting to sit there and watch the bucks that live on these places it's unreal. Like,
yeah,
Texas is kind of just its own place for sure. I was out there trying to get some broke horn exotics possibly, and that just didn't happen.
Mhm.
But I had my camera running the whole time because it was just neat watching stuff show up and different bucks. Like every time you turn around, there's another big buck coming out over here, and then one over here, and this one's bigger than the next one, and it's cool. Yeah, like special place for sure. So if you had to pick one, I guess you got an archery deer and a gun deer. What season would you pick, archery or gun?
It goes back to me saying that I'm a fair weather outdoorsman, man. I love getting my deer down early. I love early season. But this year was weird in Missouri. It was, late October and it was still 80 something degrees. So, opening day of rifle season was, I think one day I got up to like almost 90. It was miserable almost, but I'm a better warm than cold guy. So, but I like doing both, man. It's, each have their own little thing that draws me to it. I like being in the woods when the colors change.
Yeah.
So and Missouri's got tons of different trees out here, and it's beautiful. So that early fall season, I always say my favorite time is Halloween to 5 or 10 November is my favorite time to hunt. So a little bit of archery and a little bit of rifle. So
it's right at the overlap. I love it. Yeah. Same way. I don't know if I could pick one either way. I think I've like looking back, I've probably done more gun hunting overall, just put more days in gun hunting, I guess. In Montana skewed that pretty hard over my long time, but it's like getting a bow in your hand. I don't know. They're two different things, two totally different things for sure.
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm glad that you didn't shy away from the 6.5 Bleedmore. You said that's awesome. My wife's got one, and the only thing she's put down with hers is pronghorn up in Montana. I think it's the only thing that she's gotten a chance to hunt with it. We end up both drawing pronghorn tags for the same unit. So we went out and we actually got a double that day. But cool. I've got a 6.5 PRC, a 6.5 300. She's got the Creedmoor, so we've got the trifecta over here. Yeah. But
I've always been a Grindle guy. Yeah, I've ran 6.5 Grindle for a long time. That's definitely my coyote gun and everything. And my buddy's like, you need to try the Creedmoor, and I was like, let's do it. So
yeah,
I like it so
for
far.
A gun. Dude, yeah, I mean it doesn't recoil. It's just it shoots flat. I don't know. I the guys that want to complain about it, I guess let them do it. But to me, it's especially for men getting into it now with my wife. The first rifle that we had, we bought a rifle when we got to Montana. I bought a 270 Winchester featherweight, and it's got some pretty snappy punch to it. and that was the first thing. I was glad we were hunting the first time she ever shot it. She never went to the range. I went and zeroed it, and we got her out and let her take the first swing. She ended up getting her first deer ever with it. And I'm
Nice.
so glad that she never went to the range with it, to be honest. I think she would
She
have
wouldn't
been
have wanted to shoot
too
it. Yeah.
nervous to shoot it well. Yeah. And but she did it. She dropped a doe at 205 yards, I think, and that was by far the longest shot that I'd ever, you know,
Yeah.
seen taken, I guess, because grew up in Iowa, shotgun open sights, mostly. And um, but yeah, so that was really cool. And then now that she's got that 6.5 Creedmoor, I'm like, I don't know why you'd start anybody on anything different. It shoots
Yeah.
just about the same overall, anything 300 to 400 yards. It's got plenty of energy for it. And then, now I got a little guy. He's 3.5 and just loves anything Dad does. And hunting is like his favorite thing to pretend to do. And I've got him shooting the Umarex air gun, no
Oh
recoil,
yeah.
obviously, but he just loves shooting that. And taking him squirrel hunting a handful of times, and he brings his pretend shotgun with him. But I'm like, dude, I know exactly the gun we're getting out of the safe when you're big enough to go try it, because I think it's an easy way to get somebody transition, but it's got plenty of power, and you can shoot it well, and guys just don't flinch on it. It's just an easy
Yeah.
round to practice with, get good with, and I think it makes you a could make you a better rifle hunter. Just getting behind a
Yeah.
gun that you just enjoy shooting.
Absolutely. Yep. All the fundamentals just seem to come together once you're comfortable with it. So
Yeah, 100%. And that 6.5 PRC, that next level up, I think, from that to get a little bit more oomph behind it, I guess. But it's
yeah.
in that same boat. It doesn't really recoil that much, and I can shoot it well. And then now I threw a suppressor on. I finally got a suppressor a couple of years back, and down here in Texas, joined a range where I can finally actually stretch it out. And I just that and the 6.5 300, I just toss the suppressor between the two, and it just makes them so
Yep.
much fun to shoot because there's just nothing to them. So,
Yeah,
very cool. How
that's
far?
the next gun I've been looking at is a 300, but I went to Africa this year as well, so it was a pretty cool trip. Our safari guide had a 300 Win Mag, and that's what we shot there. And I was able to put down an Impala, a Springbuck, and a Blue Wildebeest. And so I was like, man, this 300 is pretty nice, and it reaches
Yeah.
out for sure. So
Yeah, definitely a lot heavier. Well, there's guys down, here in Texas. Well, there's plenty of big animals to hunt down here, and there's
yeah,
some ranches I've seen where they have a minimum of a 30 caliber or larger.
yeah,
They won't let you shoot anything smaller. So that's whatever. It's its own thing. I went back and forth with my buddy Ken up at that mountain ranch. Uh, I had that 6.5 300, and like for he had a 308, I think is what he was like. Man, I really think you should just shoot my gun. And I'm like I'm doing all the math in my head, right? I'm shooting
yeah,
156 grain bullet. And I said, Ken, at 150 yards, like everything mathematically says that my gun would be better on
yeah,
any, whatever. And the cool thing is like up there, everything's about 100-yard shot. I mean, you're really pushing it if you're going like 120.
yeah,
So it is what it is. But yeah, everybody's got their own opinion on that. But I'm the
yeah,
same
for
way.
sure.
I think I need to get a 300 caliber just so I can take the question mark out of it for the times that I
Yep,
may want to try it.
yeah, for sure.
Heck yeah. How far was your shot on the gun buck?
I mean, he was probably just under 100, so it was perfect chip shot.
Perfect.
Yep.
Yeah. Heck yeah, man. Very cool, dude. Well, man, what's your next adventure? So you got Texas, and then what's beyond that?
I mean, I have a lot of stuff planned in my head, but again, it takes time and money.
Yep.
Um, I'm a big fisherman, man. I've been a fisherman my whole life, and I'd love to get down to the Amazon, do some fishing down there, some topwater fishing for peacocks and all the toothy creatures. Um, but as far as like North America, I'm talking with Rudy. You know Rudy.
Yep. Yep.
Um, he wants to come out to Missouri and do a whitetail hunt. So I said, let's trade hunts, dude. So I might go out there next year and do a Coos deer hunt, and he may come here do a whitetail hunt. Um, Elk's always been a huge thing with me. Red stag. I grew up in Kansas. I've always been a Kansas resident my whole life. I transitioned to once I retired, I became a Missouri resident, and now I'm kicking myself. I didn't get my Kansas lifetime license, but uh, I grew up Western Kansas upland bird hunting, seeing 180, 200-inch mule deer and never went hunting for them. So mule deer and elk, stuff like that's, I have my own internal bucket list, and whatever falls in my lap is going to fall in my lap, and I'm going to do it. So,
Heck yeah, man. No, that's
yeah.
awesome. My weird bucket list thing. I say weird because I think a lot of guys might have pronghorn on their list somewhere, but that was even as a little kid. I kind of got myself into hunting. This was same kind of thing. My brother liked to play video games. I like to go outside and hunt, BB gun, pellet gun, whatever, and just do that kind of stuff. And I don't know what it was when we first got satellite TV and I could get like the outdoors channels.
Yeah.
I just kind of fell in love with pronghorn watching those guys hunt those. I don't know what it was, but a pronghorn buck coming to a water hole, a guy shooting out of a blind, and
Yeah, that's
just
cool.
something cool about them. I always thought they were neat, and then I got a chance to finally hunt them, and it stuck. I mean, it's definitely my favorite thing to chase. But
Yeah.
the hard behind that, I think, would be a mule deer, like getting out there and
Yeah.
just the
Spot and
spot and
stock.
stock game. Yep, that, and then even whitetail. Montana, you can do a lot of spot and stock for whitetail too. And there's some slammer whitetail in Montana if you know where to
Yeah.
go. I think they're all over the state, but just certain pockets, man. You ever get out there, shoot me a text. I'll drop you some pins. And
Yeah,
there's
for
plenty
sure.
of them to be chased. But yeah, man, that Western adventure is something to be said. I almost don't know if it matters what animal. I think the elk was cool. Never got it done spot and stock and elk. But my first elk was actually out of a tree stand.
Oh, wow.
Ironically enough, in Colorado, yeah, a guy had a lease set up and he only does bow and he's got stands set up and he's pretty particular about it, but it's surrounded by public. So all the public hunters kind of push the elk into this area
Yeah.
and they'll hang out there about as long as you don't screw it up. And so he's real
Yeah.
particular about how he does it. But anyway, it was out of a tree stand and two
That's cool.
hours into a week-long hunt, here comes a bull. So
Yeah.
whacked him at 40 yards. But yeah,
That's
I've had them, while you're spotting and stalking, and it's definitely a unique thing too. But yeah, a Western game is hard to beat. I think Western North America,
yeah.
but like you said, the whole world's got. I was a little surprised here you say Amazon fishing. It's definitely a first, and probably I'm not going to hang that one on a cliff yet, but that might be the
Yeah.
only person I will ever hear on this podcast say that's my next adventure. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's something I've always wanted to do. I've never shot a bear or anything like that too. So bear hunting, I think would be pretty cool. Aoudad, I've always been attracted to Aoudad. I think Aoudad are, an amazing creature. And a lot of our Texas guys do a lot of sheep hunts and stuff like that. And they're like, man, you got to come sheep hunting. I'm like, man, I got sheep down the road, I see all the time. But, an Aoudad, that would do something else for me. But I don't know. My adventures kind of just come and go as they please. And if I see something, I pick up on it and would run with it. Like the Africa trip. Africa was kind of a last minute thing where I had a buddy back out of an Africa trip, and buddy called me and said, "You want to go?" And I was like, "I'm going. Yeah, let's go."
Let's do it.
Yeah,
Hey, honey, I'm going to need you to drop those kids off a few more times.
yeah, for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah, Aoudad's been on my bucket list too, man. That was my Texas bucket list I made, and then I realized the price tag that's like on everything down here for the
Yeah,
most part is pretty incredible. But there's free range Aoudad to be had, and that was something that was same thing. I thought those were kind of neat from the first time I ever saw that, and then it just got more and more popular over the years. And now, depending on how you do it, it's either real expensive or you can draw the tags like in New Mexico and stuff like that. But then here in Texas, man, have at it. If you want to get out in that West Texas area, they're out there. I need to
yeah,
try to figure that out. But like I said, I got the 3-year-old with me full time, and I think he'd be down for the adventure. It's just like how far could I push it, with
yeah,
him in tow, kind of thing. So, and
yeah,
he's a
for
little
sure.
too big for that backpack. I think if I got to carry a bunch of water too. So either way,
Yeah,
we'll get it figured out. If you want it bad enough, you'll figure it out.
that's when you get that e-bike with a little kid mount on it.
Yeah, there we go. I hadn't even
Yeah,
thought about that. Heck yeah, like a little side cart.
yeah,
That'd be
for
awesome.
sure.
Heck yeah, man. Well, and one thing I like everybody to do too is, man, just leave us with something good. You're involved in a lot of awesome things, and thank you for your service, by the way. 20
Appreciate
years of that, 20 plus years, and then you've got your the fallen outdoor stuff, man. But if the world had to hear something from you right now that you think it needs to hear, what's it need to hear?
it. Enjoy it while you got it. In the fallen outdoors, we say living our dreams because they gave up theirs, and that's the biggest takeaway is, you know, if you have an opportunity to do something, do it because it may not be there tomorrow.
Well, very cool, man. Well, is there anything else where people can find you? So obviously you got to tell us where you can find your website for your shop, in the Fallen Outdoors, and yeah, where can we find you?
Yeah, both of us are on Facebook. Just Ridge, the number 2, riveroutdoors.com. Um, I don't know if you can see that or not, but there you go, Ridge to River Outdoors. Um, and then the fallenoutdoors.org, our .org will, there's, it's not focused, but Mike.Unruh at thefallenoutdoors.org or just thefallenoutdoors.org. Both of those links will get you in touch with me or somebody near you. And, we'll just connect you with like-minded outdoors men and women from across the nation and share your stories.
I love it, man. Sounds good. We'll make sure we have all the links to that in the show notes as well, so make it easy for guys, and we'll post that when we post the episode as well. Well, Mike, thank you so much, man. Thank you again, like I said, for your service. Thank you for everything you're doing with the Fallen Outdoors. So incredible. Definitely looking forward to figuring out ways to partner with you guys on that front and in other ways, and even with our Light the Fire Outdoors consulting partners too. We'll make sure we figure out ways to partner you up with those guys. But yeah, man, hopefully we possibly get to catch up on an adventure together here sometime soon.
Hey, come on up to Missouri. Missouri's pretty cool. 60% or more rated VA. You get life, or you get a resident rates. So it's actually pretty decent to hunt up here. And Texas treats you real well as well. You go to Walmart down there in Texas, he prints you out a big old thing of licenses, and it doesn't cost you a thing. So it's pretty neat.
Yeah. Yep, my wife got that. That was nice to see. Well, heck yeah, man! If you got does to take off that property, don't tempt me. I've got an empty freezer over here, so if you have does that need to be gone,
we got antlerless season coming up in like 2 weeks. We're target antlerless ones. So come on up, man.
Perfect, man. Well, sounds good. I'll get with you on that one offline.
All right, Aaron.
All right, brother, man. Well, have a good one. It was great having you on.
All right, appreciate you, brother.
Hey, you too. Bye.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it, guys. That was another episode of Operation Hunt, where we bring on veterans like Mike Unruh to talk about their service and, of course, tell a great hunting story. And Mike is just a wealth of knowledge, number one, from the service side of things, his awesome career, but also just in the outdoors industry and all the awesome things he's doing. The Fallen Outdoors, fantastic organization, and I really love how Mike left us with his something good. And the mission statement behind Fallen Outdoors, or the Fallen Outdoors, is living our dreams because of them. And it brings me to John 15:13 in the Bible, where it says, "There's no greater love than to lay down one's life for one's friends." And whether or not we see it that way, at the end of the day, we all live in a place here in the United States where we are all here and we're free because of what men did a long time ago. And argue about it or however you want to see it. There are guys and gals that get voluntold to go places all the time now with the wars we've got going on in recent history, and even ones that have just wrapped up, where real men and women have died for something bigger than themselves, whether they wanted to or not. And that's just a sacrifice that can't be replaced. And there's so many heroic stories of guys and gals going out there and doing that. And then I love the trajectory of giving it back to service members, like organizations like the Fallen Outdoors and the awesome things that they provide for these servicemen and women, and even things like our new License to Kill initiative, where we're sponsoring, through your support, we're sponsoring veteran hunting licenses across the country. And there's just so many great organizations out there that just their mission is to give back to these guys and gals who have lived through things most of us can't even imagine in our minds what it's actually like, and just such a crazy thing. So you can find out more about the Fallen Outdoors. Go to their website, thefallenoutdoors.org. Support those guys there. If you're a veteran, go check out and sign up for their pages. I just got signed up here not too long ago on several of their regional pages, and there's a lot of great opportunities out there for guys and gals like that. And then our first ever dealer partner here at Light the Fire Outdoors with our knee bag, the custom knee rest system, specifically for mobile hunters, but it's also great for a butt rest if you're out there turkey hunting. It's great for kneeling, if you're kneeling out there on the side of a mountain glassing. Great glassing pad, awesome pillow for those midday naps, whatever you need it for, but it's built for mobile hunters to support their knees and protect them from trees. And Ridge to River is now carrying those, so go support those guys there. And by supporting us, you are supporting them and our License to Kill initiative as well, from anything you buy or however you support the Prayin&amp podcast and Light the Fire Outdoors. So with that, guys, go check out Mike and everything there about thefallenoutdoors.org, all over social media, The Fallen Outdoors, and then ridgetoriver.com, with Ridge to River Outdoors on their Facebook page as well. Thank you so much for listening, and we look forward to bringing you another episode of the Prayin' and Slayin podcast here soon. And as always, keep praying and slaying.
Well, there you have it, guys. Well, there you have it, guys. That was another episode of Operation Hunt, where we bring on veterans like Mike Unruh to talk about their service and, of course, tell a great hunting story. And Mike is just a wealth of knowledge, number one, from the service side of things with his awesome career, but also just in the outdoors industry and all the awesome things he's doing. The Fallen Outdoors, a fantastic organization, and I really love how Mike left us with his something good. And the mission statement behind Falling Outdoors, or the Fallen Outdoors, is living our dreams because of them. And it brings me to John 15:13 in the Bible, where it says, "There's no greater love than to lay down one's life for one's friends." And whether or not we see it that way, at the end of the day, we all live in a place here in the United States where we are all here and we're free because of what men did a long time ago. And argue about it or however you want to see it. There are guys and gals that get voluntold to go places all the time now with the wars we've got going on in recent history, and even ones that have just wrapped up, where real men and women have died for something bigger than themselves, whether they wanted to or not. And that's just a sacrifice that can't be replaced. And there's so many heroic stories of guys and gals going out there and doing that. And then I love the trajectory of giving back to service members, like organizations like the Fallen Outdoors and the awesome things that they provide for these servicemen and women, and even things like our new License to Kill initiative, where we're sponsoring, through your support, we're sponsoring veteran hunting licenses across the country. And there's just so many great organizations out there that just their mission is to give back to these guys and gals who have lived through things most of us can't even dream or can't even imagine in our minds what it's actually like, and just such a crazy thing. So you can find out more about the Fallen Outdoors. Go to their website, thefallenoutdoors.org. Support those guys there. If you're a veteran, go check out and sign up for their pages. I just got signed up here not too long ago on several of their regional pages, and there's a lot of great opportunities out there for guys and gals like that. And then our first ever dealer partner here at Light the Fire Outdoors with our knee bag, the custom knee rest system, specifically for mobile hunters, but it's also great for a butt rest if you're out there turkey hunting. It's great for kneeling if you're kneeling out there on the side of a mountain glassing. Great glassing pad, awesome pillow for those midday naps, whatever you need it for. But it's built for mobile hunters to support their knees and protect them from trees. And Ridge to River is now carrying those, so go support those guys there. And by supporting us, you are supporting them, and our License to Kill initiative as well, from anything you buy or however you support the Prayin and Slayin Podcast and Light the Fire Outdoors. So with that, guys, go check out Mike and everything there about thefallenoutdoors.org, all over social media, The Fallen Outdoors, and then ridgetoriver.com, which Ridge to River Outdoors on their Facebook page as well. Thank you so much for listening, and we look forward to bringing you another episode of the Prayin and Slayin Podcast here soon. And as always, keep praying and slaying.